Praise the Lord and good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to our Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. So happy and excited to have this wonderful opportunity to come to you today to lead you in a very special way in today's Good Morning Grief Devotion. This is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural, normal, and necessary response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is how you reveal it on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. That's why we shout good morning, because mourning is a good thing. I'm so glad that you were here with us on today as we lead you in a very special way in today's Good Morning Grief devotion. Today is day 357. This message is straight from heaven. We're going to talk about I learned about grief and mourning as a child. I learned about grief and mourning as a child. Whether you know it or not, you learned about grief and mourning as a child. Let's talk about it, y'all. When I was growing up, I saw how my parents and other important grown ups in life handled grief and loss. I know if they were open and honest or closed and silent. I know if grief and mourning were considered normal and necessary or shameful and weak. Everything that we know just about, we learned growing up. We got to see examples of how people did things and handled things. And a lot of things were taught, a lot of things were caught, right? A lot of things were taught directly to us. A lot of things we just caught indirectly. We begin to see, watch, and witness how our parents handled certain situations, how they handled finances, how they handled tension and pressure, how they handled life, how they handled grief, how they handled mourning. And there was so much that we caught from these interactions and these situations that we experienced growing up. Watch this. Some stuff good, some stuff not so good. Let's talk about it. Whatever I learned as a child, I bring to my grief journey now. This is what you got to know and understand. Y'all, we do what we see, right? We do what we know. We got default buttons. Will reach back in our mind and get the memories of the things that we experience that are similar to what we're doing now. And a lot of times we will put that into practice. We will put that into play. And so whatever I learned as a child, I bring to my grief journey now. Whatever you learn, you're bringing to your journey now. This is the thing, whether it was right, whether it was wrong, whether it was good, whether it was bad, whether it was instrumental or it was detrimental, you're bringing that to your grief journey now. I do have the power to unlearn any harmful misconceptions, however. The commitment and ongoing effort this takes is worth it. A lot of times you got to unlearn and relearn. A lot of times the things we were taught, the things we were caught, y'all, it may not have been the best. It may have been bad. It may have just been plain wrong. And so sometimes we got to unlearn that this is not how you handle grief. And we got to relearn. As men, we're taught, suck it up, don't cry. Men don't cry. That's what we're taught. Oh, that's so harmful, right? So that's something that we got to unlearn, right? And then when it comes to how do we handle our emotions, we have to relearn, right? We were taught just stay busy. If you just stay busy, it'll pass. Ah, that's harmful. So we got to unlearn that we can't be addicted to busyness and avoid our grief. Then we got to relearn, right, that we don't suppress it, we express it. We don't ignore it, we explore it. So there were so many things that maybe you were taught or caught as a child that now as an adult you have to unlearn, then you have to relearn. The commitment and ongoing effort this takes is worth it. I learned about grief and mourning as a child, and I am learning anew as an adult. It's okay to admit, like, yo, them was some of the best practices. Some of those practices was not the best that I learned. Some of those things were not great. They were not instrumental. They were more detrimental, right? It's okay to admit that. It's okay to walk in a new awareness of grief and mourning. Here's the final thought, y'all. I proactively teach the children in my life that grief is normal and necessary and that it's important to mourn openly and honestly. I love it. I proactively teach the children in my life that grief is normal and necessary and that it's important to mourn openly and honestly. Today is day 357, y'all. I learned about grief and mourning as a child. I want you to know and understand some things were taught, some things were caught. You got to sift through and understand what was harmful and what was helpful, what was instrumental, what was detrimental, what was good, what was not so good. And it's okay to unlearn, and it's okay to relearn as you navigate through your grief journey. Yo, if y'all are available today, y'all, if you live in the Indianapolis, Indiana area, and you are available, consider joining us at the City of Hope Community Church today for worship. 10607 East 56th Street, 10 a.m. If you cannot make the 10 a.m. service or you're not here, you can catch us virtually, right here on where you are watching now. I'm excited about today. It's going to be a wonderful time in the Lord. I can't wait to get to the house of God to be with all of God's people. Look, I love y'all with the love of the Lord. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to see y'all hopefully today. If not, I'll see you tomorrow right here, same time, same place. Let's go.